So today I am doing the second in my series of what I call loose lines and warm ups. Hello, Adele. Welcome. Hi, Sitla. Um, I'm doing warm ups. So this is something that I've introduced in the last month or so because I'm really enjoying small windows of time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of just sitting down to sketch. And the idea is that it's quite low pressure and it's just about having a chance to move some materials across the page. And as we're doing portraits in our 2-month theme, it's a really nice time to just kind of do some quick sketchbook work. In the last two that I've done around portraits, I was using a rainbow pencil. And in the last one, I was using ink on loose sheets of paper. Today, I've decided I want to do work back in my sketchbook, so not loose sheets of paper. I've got this Pith Pomelo sketchbook, which I've just labeled my warm ups. And I've neglected to use my Tombos in a really long time. I haven't used them for ages. I just sort of I forgot about them for a while. So I did a little bit of preparation for this session. And you can see here, I've just labeled up the pens that I've chosen in case you're interested in taking a note of what those colors are. And I also had a little play with doing like a little color test to figure out um, which ones I wanted to use. And I picked up this idea of the kind of little triangle crossover from Dylan. I think the right way to pronounce her name is Mayo Mayoskis. Maybe some of you will know who I mean. Um, she has some really great Skillshare classes, and in one of her recent YouTube videos, she was demonstrating how she does this little triangle overlay to color test. And I just thought that was such a lovely, like simple, smart way of testing the colors. So I'm taking inspiration from her for that one. And I was also looking at my selection and thinking about getting in a range of tones. So I've got a couple of lighter colors. The deepest colors, I guess, are the blues. And I just threw in a red because I quite like how the blue and the red overlap. And I really love this color here, which is the 026. So that's the little setup for the materials. Oh, and I also thought it would be good to sharpen the Stabilo Woody, so I've just got a black one in case I feel like using that. It's there. This paper is super smooth. If you're in my paid community, you may or may not have seen I've added a couple of extra images to the chat, to our private chat, because I realized that when I sent out the references that I'm going to be drawing from, some of them are actually doubles. So I must have overlooked that I've sent a few more than once. So yeah, I'm going to crack on. You've got some, yeah, you've got some extra images. Oh yes, Bianca, you also like the 026. It's kind of a interesting mustard, isn't it? It's one of those colors that when you look at it in isolation, it feels a bit like it's got that muted, slightly dirty. I didn't think I would be drawn to it, but when I see this color in combination with others, it's so nice to work with. Okay, so I'm going to get cracking, and I'll check in. And let me see if I can just log on also via the laptop and see some of the messages if they come in. So I'll attempt to do that. Okay, no more chat. I'm going to crack on. So I like using markers, but I haven't used them much recently. I think one of the reasons I abandoned the Tombos for a while is because I was feeling quite frustrated that the numbers really rub off so easily, and also that they're not refillable. So it feels really wasteful sometimes to work with these, um, which is a bit frustrating. So I really love the which one is the watercolor markers? I think they're from, is it Derwent? Which are the watercolor markers that are also light fast for more sort of expensive ones? I've got a couple of those that are really nice and they're really chunky and wet. And I've also got, yeah, those are the main ones I have. I don't have a big selection, but I love the color range that you get with Tombos. But yeah, it's really a shame that they're just not very, um, you just can't refill them. And so it just, yeah, I feel a bit guilty about the amount of waste. But it's really nice to work with them in the sense that I really like the fact that you do get this kind of, you see the overlap from the ink, you get the sort of layering. And it's one of those things with Tombos that when I first started using them, it did bother me because it felt a little bit like when you're using felt tip pens at school and you see all of the overlap and it feels a little bit like you're not getting that nice coverage of color. But now I actually really like that about them. So it's funny how you kind of change your taste with these things. And so, yeah. So let me talk a little bit about why I chose portraits. And I really love studying people. I'm really fascinated by movies that are kind of biopics or talk about, um, bring to life like stories of life or somehow like psychological. And I just think there's nothing more interesting than people, really. I really enjoy that. Morning, Charlotte. Oh, Charlotte, I have to say, I drew your dog with Sitla and Jenny the other night, and I have to share that image with you because that was a joy. So yeah, I thought that portraits and faces are really a subject area that um, often causes quite a lot of nervousness and can make us feel a little bit intimidated. And I understand that very much. I think that we can all relate to that, really, because it is always this bit of nervousness about representation of somebody and whether it's believable and all of those things. But it's also really satisfying, right, to be able to study somebody's face, I think, and just appreciate I don't know, the diversity and all the beautiful shapes that are in a face and all the gorgeous expressions that you can see. I really love layering the tombos on top of each other, and it gives you a chance to get quite graphic, I think. Let me maybe go for the red in this part here. I quite like being able to carve as well. Um, and it's really satisfying with these markers that you can cover quite a lot of area and almost paint. I kind of feel like I'm more successful with markers as a medium for paint. If you know what I mean? Like in my head, I feel as though I can paint with markers, but I struggle with paint. And I love paint, but I love more that I don't have to think about which color I'm picking and I don't have to worry about mixing. And I find that really one of the things about markers, which is quite satisfying, that you have your color palette, you pick it, and then, if you've got a light, medium, and a dark, you can just enjoy the experience of making those marks. And that's what I find so relaxing about working with markers, because I do think that there's less decision making process going on. And especially if I'm working in a way that's quite quick, like I'm attempting to do here. Um, what's this color? Maybe I'll add Well, that's making it a bit darker than I expect, but that's okay. Maybe there's just a bit of shading in here. Oh, Charlotte is asking, who am I drawing? So I am drawing from stock imagery, and I've picked some images from Unsplash because I wanted to work with a series of images that were quite, could I say, just fairly neutral and were very clearly shot, photographically speaking. So it really is like a head and shoulders type image. Um, and, working from stock imagery, you can really easily find images that feel like they belong as a series for something like this as a warm up. And I think that when you're working from stock, it helps to take away that layer of nervousness where if you're drawing somebody that you know or that knows you, then you always have that feeling of fear, that you're not quite getting them right. So it's a little bit less of a worry if you're just focusing on somebody who isn't known to you. So you can be more graphic, I think, and more interpretive. So if you're in the paid membership, you'll have these references that were emailed to you earlier in the week and 2 days ago. So hopefully you've got those. I'm just wondering with the hair, maybe I'll just go straight in with the blue. Now, I want to just make sure that I'm covering enough area here and that the lady's got afro hair. So I want to make sure that and because it's very voluminous, and also I'm looking down at her from an angle. She's sort of looking up in the image. I'm pretty sure I haven't fit her on the page. Like it does go quite bold and out. So it's sort of there, I would say. It looks a bit higher off the page um, than I can fit. So I'm going to just sort of create the shape as I perceive it to be that kind of occupies. Might have gone a bit too high on this side. It's probably more there. And the reason I call this loose lines is because I think that really captures the way I most like to make work. I most like the experience of really, really loose work in the sense that, like, when you see work where you can see the hand in it and you can actually see where the mark making has been laid down. Like I find that really satisfying both to do and also to see and to perceive. So yeah, that's why I call it loose lines. And what I might do is use the red over the top just to add some definition of the curls. And so then I'm using these to kind of suggest the way or the direction in which the curls are coming towards us. Because obviously the scribbles that I've done underneath are going in all directions, but I want to just suggest a little bit of this being kind of coming from the center of the head out a little bit as I see it in my image reference. So that's how it's looking. But I do love this combination of colors. And yeah, the idea with this is that it's like 30 minutes. It's going to be more than 20 already because I was talking at the beginning, but it's about having a half an hour or so session. I do have the ability to check on the comments. So if anybody does want to ask me anything, I might see it a little late, but I should be able to see it. So I'm kind of fine with that as a warm-up number 1. It's a nice way to remind myself that I really actually do quite like Tombos. Um, so, okay. So that's the first one. Next up, I'm going to draw a younger man. I'm going to just keep it on this side of the page so it's easier. Oh, no, maybe. Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah. This is somebody who is looking up, and I'm also looking up at my page, so I'm probably going to get the angles and the shapes of this all wrong. Let me see. So, this nice thing about Tombos as well is when you get those shapes in, you don't lose them, you see where those shapes are, and it gives you a bit of a map in a way. So I quite like that about Tombos. That even if it's not quite right, I can sort of see where the intention was. And because I'm looking up in this direction, I have to make sure that it makes sense for where I'm putting the eyes. So then you've got the eyes. And also, this is a gentleman wearing glasses. He's got a really angular jaw looking up at it. So, got to get that right. But yeah, just trying to remember shape, I think is quite important. And I'm leaving these, you might notice I'm leaving these sort of white areas for where I'm imagining the eyes to be. Now, this guy's jacket is almost the same color as his skin. So, and that's quite convenient for me because it means I don't have to use too many colors. So I'm just going to do that. I've got a horrible feeling that this pen is also due to run out soon, which would be really annoying if that happened on this call, but hey ho. So I'm going to just suggest that there. So that general shape, okay, that will do. Okay, so I'm going to go in with a blue and I'm going to just try and get the eyes in the right place. Now, that's probably a bit weird. And maybe what I'll do is try and suggest the nose like this. Oh, this is not working out as I would hope, but hey, who told me to go live and draw? Nobody. So deal with it. If it's not working out right, it's going to be okay anyway, right? So let's not worry about it. So, okay, then the mouth is going to come through here and it just turns up a little bit, which is nice. A bit of shadow under there. And actually, what I could do is use this slightly lighter tone. I wonder if this tone is coming up on camera and whether you can see that yellow or not. That would be interesting. But even though it's, yeah, I quite like that. I'm really, really reminding myself that I actually really enjoy Tombos, and it's really nice on this Pith Pomelo paper, which is super smooth. Kind of lends itself quite nicely um, to the smooth marker. Anybody else use Tombos or markers regularly? Let me know. I'd be curious if you have a love for them, a hate for them, whether you found alternative water-based markers that are maybe a little bit more eco-friendly. That would be what I'd be keen to find. I can't really see his eyebrows, but I just want to sort of suggest them. Charlotte, you love them. Yeah, they are nice. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying that they are so nice. I get why they're so popular. And I really love these colours. Staedtler brush markers. Hmm. I haven't tried those. How would you say they compare? Are they refillable at all? Mm. Sitla, you like it when other people use them, but you can't seem to find a way to work with them. I feel that way about, I feel exactly the same way about, oh, why doesn't my brain work? The art graph tin that everybody loves so much. It's so nice. I really see how it's so great, but every time I use it, it just looks bad. And I don't know why I can't make it work. So I find there are some materials like that that people just have a really amazing way with and create absolutely stunning work. But it's funny, isn't it, what we resonate with? I wonder whether what I might do is, I mean, I'm kind of okay with that. Would it be weird to put his nostrils in? Maybe. Um, it's a bit strange, isn't it, this live thing? Because I feel like we're together and we're drawing together, but we're also not. So I really quite like the lo-fi vibes of it, which is why I kind of keep coming back. Carl, they're water-based. So these are the Tombow markers um, that are water-based. I don't really go with the alcohol markers because I struggle with the fact that they bleed through so much on most papers. So I just avoid them for that reason. And this one is the N60. Carl, do you use them um, in this kind of way, in an illustrative way? And do you have a preference for the water versus the alcohol? I'd be curious to know because I'm always interested to know how people decide between them. This one's already about to run out. I wish the numbers wouldn't rub off so easily. Oh, so okay. I kind of like that too. I really enjoy the overlap, you know? I really enjoy the layering. It's just a really pleasing thing. So this is a young face and previously was also a young face. And if you've just joined and you're curious, I'll just quickly show you this page of the Tombows that I've selected. I may use some, I may not use some, but yeah. So that's where we've got to. So that's the second one. Yeah, this is fun. And can I just slide over to this side so I'm maximizing my paper? I think so. Okay. So now I'm going to draw the profile of a slightly older gentleman. I love drawing people with glasses on. Anybody else relate? So, um, so the thing about this one, let me try and map it. The ear's quite big, as it tends to be with older generation. and there's a slight stoop. I'm going to sort of try and imagine well, not imagine, but this is the tricky part actually, because the eye is kind of here, but you won't see it very much um, because of the way that the angle is working. So I'll just do that for now. Ear is sort of doing this. Carl says, I use Winsor and Newton alcohol on occasion for a whole pick look. Okay. Yeah, Winsor and Newton. Maybe that's what I was trying to remember earlier. They also have the watercolor ones, right? The ones that are quite high quality. Is that the one that's got the famous earth green in it that, oh no, this isn't right. Um, this is going to turn out wrong. Sorry, I'm babbling a bit. Yeah, it's got the earth green that I know is really popular. I'm going to adjust this in a minute. Let me just get a rough shape in. Oh, Faber-Castell. That's what I'm thinking of, Charlotte. Yeah, I haven't bought them in a while, but I think that's what I was trying to remember. Thank you for that. I really like those. They're so expensive though, so I've only got about 4. So I wanted to be sure if I really like them before I bought any more. I think they're one of those things where you just literally just buy the colors that you like. Okay, so this is looking like a right mess, but that's okay, right? We'll pull it together in a minute. Do I have the rough proportions going? Sitla, the Faber-Castell dry so fast? You mean the actual ink in the barrel, so you don't get much out of the pen? Because that would be really annoying, especially considering that they're not cheap. Oh, like the Copic, yeah. God, I love talking about art materials. Anybody else go online so that you have someone to talk to about art materials? I could talk about them all day, but my husband wouldn't really be as interested in that conversation. I'd be talking to myself. And as of yet, my son isn't that bothered either. I'll get them round eventually. So spiky hair. I'm using one color. So this gentleman's got grey hair, white hair. So I'm just going to ignore the color of the hair. I'm just concerned with getting the rough sort of shapes down, because it's harder when you're trying to get the proportions of somebody who's the definition in the jawline in the profile isn't as pronounced because of the age. And so I'm just trying to make sure that I'm actually getting those proportions kind of in the right place. And what I might do is I might actually go for instead of the brush side, I might actually go for the tip side to do this next part, which is a bit wild because I often forget about that part. I don't know if anyone else does, but I quite like anyone else that uses Tombows. Do you also forget that there's this side? I'm going to sort of, in the image reference, you don't really see the pupil, but I'm going to draw it as my brain would understand it to be. That might be not the best idea, but I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to go with, gosh, this is a really hard one I've set myself, guys. This is probably going to look really strange. Now, slightly regretting that I'm doing this with an audience. But the glasses kind of do that. Maybe I will go back to and then the glasses are quite low on the face, so I have to make sure that the nostril makes sense. And I might actually use this to give me some negative shape as well, negative space, and start to kind of map. Maybe I'm worrying too much about a likeness here. I don't know. I can't help myself, but I want to just start to suggest some shadow. Top lip really needs definition here so that it makes a bit more sense. Um, and then actually, where's that lovely mustard? This is going to be a bit weird, but I want to just not have it quite so dark. I might use that just to kind of carve in around the top, which is quite fun. What do you think? Tough one, this one. I'm not going to lie. I might go in. Um, I might go in just with it. Carl, I just saw your question. Did you say you have the geeky question? Are you using the Substack app or OSB software on a computer? No, I'm using the Substack app on my camera, on my phone. That's what you're seeing as the overhead. And at the same time, I've got my laptop open in front of me with the sound off, and I'm able to see the Substack live through the web browser. Um, and that means I can see some of the comments that are coming up. Although there's a lag, obviously, I'm seeing them coming in a bit late. But I sort of see them. That was a tip from Seth Werkheiser doing the rounds, and it works. Thank you, Seth. Let me. Okay, so there we go. And there's the suggestion of the body coming in and a bit of spiky hair. So I think oh, he hasn't got an ear. That'd be helpful, wouldn't it? I have the glasses going to stay up. Gosh, he hasn't got an ear. Well done, Raj. Give him an ear. Okay. Is that right? Is it going to be kind of there? Don't forget the ear, people. Oh, I like that. I like that. Gosh, the scary drawing live is all right. So I'm going to do one more. This one will be from the chat. So if you're here as part of my subscriber base, you will get in the chat as a paid subscriber some additional images. And because I think the ones that I've sent you previously, I've duplicated. So I'm going to go for hipster dude with a big beard because I like drawing facial hair. Facial hair drawing somehow gives you a really nice map around the face, I find, so I can anchor to it, which I really enjoy. Now with this one, I'm going to start with the slightly paler color, and he's got actually quite uh, the shape of his head is very round at the top, which is nice and easy. And I'm going to start with the paler color, but his eyebrows are kind of here and they sort of go down. And yeah, I would use markers much more often if I mean, Tombow or refillable would be a dream. But I think I'll probably go to Ecolina again because they are um, refillable. So I might try that. Mouth, head, I might have to make his forehead a bit higher. And I'm slightly looking up. I haven't bothered to leave like a white space for the eyes on this one like I did previously. Um, because the eyes are a bit smaller, so I think it will still read regardless of that. There's the mouth. I'm going to just hint to how far down his beard goes. And there's a bit of neck here. So I like to just roughly map things in. I hope you're still here. I hope the reception on my phone isn't being annoying. Okay, so that's the pale tone. Now I'm going to go in. I like going in the eyes actually first because if I think about grounding, let me think. Now I'm getting stage fright. Maybe what I'll do is just do a bit of the nose here. And don't be scared, just draw it. Okay, this is too wide. I'm going to carve back into the face there, and I'm just going to map and extend it there. I can do that later. Wrong color, happens sometimes. Let's just take it out that way a bit more. You can see how rough and ready this is, right? Anyone else rough and ready? Because this is how I like to do it. So that's that part. Okay, now I'm going to just actually make these eyes red just to start off with. And he has a smile in his eye. And so with that, I'm going to just do a little bit of under the eye just to help suggest a bit of a smile, a little bit of a wrinkle for the smile lines. And then we'll use the blue as a slightly darker tone in there. And I'm actually going to go over the pupils as well. So I'm hoping I haven't positioned this really weirdly, but I think that might be okay. And then his eyebrows are here. And they kind of come down like that. Okay, this is going to be the last one because I don't want to keep you too long and bore you silly with my inane chat. But I hope that this is interesting to look at least. And what I'll do is I'm just going to roughly map in with the lighter N60 the way that his pretty magnificent beard, I have to say. I mean, it's pretty epic. And then use that. And it's starting to run out, so that's great, isn't it? Just to sort of map where it is. And because there are flecks of grey in the beard, having this lighter, the N60 as the mapping of it all is quite good because it will sort of suggest that the tonal kind of variation there. And then I'm going to go in with this. And that's probably should have been red for it to look a little bit more like it was actually his mouth. But the beard, I don't know if anyone else who's in my group can see the reference, but the beard is quite high up as well. So let's just map that in. Gosh, it's a big beard. And some of these strands of hair are this long. So get that in. There we go. And what I'm going to try and do to carve in a bit more um, of what makes sense. I'm a little bit mixed up with now with what might. Let me grab a different color. Because I don't know, maybe brown is not the right idea, but it's the one that's to hand. Because what I want to do, and this is a brush pen filled with dark brown ink. It's probably a really bad idea, but I want to, in terms of color, but I want to just look at this in terms of the negative space a little bit more. Um, so if I kind of just carve in so that I can get a sense of the kind of outline. And of course, you get such a nice brush texture. I like having quite a strong outline on things. It can give a really nice graphic feel. So this is turning out to be a really weird drawing, but hey, don't say I don't cut myself out there. Scary as it may be, that's what this is. So then he's got this black t-shirt, but I'm just going to use red so I can just stick to what's in my color palette. And what I might do is I'm just going to do a little bit of shading here just to suggest a little bit more dimension. And let's get that blue echoing in his hair at the top. And just suggesting some of that coming in. Get some really nice layering going on. And then we're almost done. That brown in the background feels really uncomfortable to me. So I'm going to just make it make a bit more sense by extending it out to the side so that it's not like this weird thing stuck to the side of his face, but it's more of a suggestion of a background, if you know what I mean. So I think I chose a really weird color choice for that, but that's all right. Yeah, so there we go. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I didn't end up using the Stabilo Woody. I wonder whether it might be worthwhile just for funsies, because I did have the Stabilo Woody. Let's just finish on a really quick one, because that could just be a nice thing to do. So let me just do a really quick one with the Stabilo Woody, because with that you don't get that much control. And I feel as though now with this sort of last ones that I've done, I've kind of found myself getting too worried about control. So let's just go for something chunky so I can relax up again a little bit. So I'm going to go for a young, smiling person. I usually avoid smiles because of the teeth. I know that's cheating, but I want to have fun with this. So I'm using references that feel a bit easier for me in that respect. I will do it though. So hang on. And then here, I'm going to go for a nose that almost joins up at the top. So this is the Stabilo Woody. In case you've just joined, I'm going to do the smile now. Remembering that the center of the pupil is usually as far out as the side of the mouth goes. So I don't want to be too awkward with the proportions. So I'm not going to try and do teeth because it looks terrible. But you've got some nice smile lines coming in, and maybe the woody is a good idea because it kind of forces you to try not to represent too much, but to kind of position things in. And he's got really cute curls, and that's quite fun with the woody because you can just have these really simple lines coming in. And then let me get the position of the chin right here. Oh God, I'm trying to get too good with this, and I need to stop. Just get the shape down. Nobody knows who he is, so I'm not going to offend him or anyone else. Have I done the forehead too low? Yep, but he's got really curly hair that's falling lower than his forehead. And there's a cap on the head as well. So I'm just going to make a suggestion of that, which kind of goes up there. And of course, I haven't fit it on the page because that would be too that would be a miracle if I managed to fit it on the page. Yeah, so I'm going to be finishing up soon, but does anyone have any questions while I'm here? I'll just quickly recap on what I've done. If you've come in a little bit late, this is just a reminder that my loose lines warm-up sessions are what I like to do just to kind of give myself some low pressure, relaxed drawing time in my sketchbook and invite you to do that with me. So thank you for your company. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to just slow down a little bit because I'm aware that my um, reception might be a little bit slow. So let me just recap what I've done here. Thank you for coming, Carl. This last one was a woody sketch. And I've been mostly using Tombow, so that's what we have there. I really enjoyed this, but now I'm looking at it through the camera. The nose here, all this looks a bit strange, so I need to add some dimension. But that's okay. Um, I was really worried that this one was going to be terrible, but I quite like it. I think it's come out quite characterful, so I don't mind that. And this was the very first one that I did. And just as a little bonus, I want to do a shout out to Ella Beach. I joined her on her session today. We were doing self portraits. This is a blind contour drawing of myself and a couple of paint drawings that I did in her session as well. When I saw that she was doing portraits and self portraits, I thought, yay, bang on. Um, and also, Charlotte, if you're still here, let me just show you your dog that I did with Siedler and Jenny. This is Piper. So that is Charlotte Hamilton's dog. And I quite like how that came out. Do you recognize your dog there? And this is Jenny's dog, Ratchet. So I did these with a dot pen. Do you know dot pens? They're for journaling. And I like the fact that it's like a fat uniform line that you get from them. Anyhow, I digress. Thank you, everyone. It's so nice to have this lo-fi session with you guys. I really hope that it was fun and that it was interesting to watch me draw. If you would like to join me again, be sure to sign up and you'll be alerted to whenever I do these live. And if you're in my page, you'll get all the references that I'm drawing from. Have a wonderful evening wherever you are or morning. And yeah, till next time.